And then I want to let you know, as with any calculation as it relates to the cost of water, there is a very cursory calculation in this report.
Nice.
And I don't, unless we get into more detail about what makes that up, it's kind of hard to really say that that is a number, but I'm telling you that when you look at the direct cost, the cost of materials and supplies and electricity and purchased water and things that go into that treated water supply, that captures a good chunk of those. It doesn't have a lot of our overhead costs, because those costs, for example, Cindy, myself, the office costs, because those don't vary based on how much water we lose or not, except for we might have more service calls and all that. But
those are fixed costs.
Yeah, I mean, one could argue this. When we talk about the cost per unit of water that we sell, those numbers come in. When we're talking about just a number of the direct material costs for water, that's it's a number to use. I'm not going to stand on 100% yet. But.
Just a question on the chart on page 4 at the top. Now that was just an estimate, an example of what it would be, right?
Of what?
The water loss would be, versus the other chart that says, yes, it was 37%. Right? This is just an example?
This is calculated based off of the budget for this year. Just taking the numbers out of the budget and...
what number are you asking about in particular?
Well, I'm asking at the little chart on the top of page 4,
yes,
where you took 7.21, the acre feet, and multiplied it 564.33, and came up with 4,068.48. But when you multiply that by 12 months of the year to get the yearly value, I came up with a different number. I came up with 48,530, or where is it? 825. So I was just wondering, is there another variable in there that's not taken into consideration? Because that math doesn't work out right. Okay, that's all.
It's an embedded spreadsheet. So
yeah, I was just wondering if there was another variable that.
No, it's not. It's really just it's really just pretty straight math.
Okay.
So I don't know what.
All right. Thank you.
The Irwin grant, the well project closeout, and the Irwin grant have been two of the big time consumers over the last couple months. But we've got the Irwin on the agenda for discussion a little bit later on project number 3, the water use efficiency. But project number 2 is waiting, and which is when we applied for that, we were still applying for money for the well project. So we applied for money for the wells at the same time, and that was included in the contract. But now that we, with that project, as long as we get the USDA money, and that's another thing that I addressed in there, is we expect a meeting at the end of this month to go over a 6-inch binder of material that our engineers produce for USDA. And if we get the USDA money, then we don't have to use this money to reimburse us for the wells. We would then be moving that money into the service line replacement project. So that's what, at this point, what I anticipate. And that's project number 4, that replaces the leaky service lines. And that's grant money with no mandatory local match. You see the yard still torn up out there. We've got a couple of projects that are related to that you might see in the future. Probably going to wait until the next budget year in reality, just because of cost and cost overruns on existing budget stuff. But the treatment plant effluent meter vault, we have a new meter that will give us more accurate readings. That's already been purchased. To install it, we've got to keep the water out of the vault. It can't get wet. Last time it was purchased in 2009, the meter immediately got wet and has malfunctioned ever since. And so we don't want that to happen. So we've got to put in a sump pump and a place for it to discharge, and electrical, and put in a vault that's a little bit better. We've fixed one leak that was contributing to it. It was all the way up in the raw water pond, but it still is a place where a lot of water accumulates. Always has. It always has. Out there in the other vault that has been there since the plant was built, there's a sump pump in there. Some of the equipment that I put into the system back in the 90s, part of the SCADA, was programmable logic controllers, because each one of the stations had to function on their own if this main computer went down here at the treatment plant. So they had put in programmable logic controllers that could keep the pumps running, read the tank site, and keep things going. And those are not needed anymore, and in fact they're failing and causing trouble with the program. So within our existing distribution budget, we're going to get those taken out and the final reprogramming done so that those are out of the loop, and because we've got redundant systems here now on the SCADA. So it's just a different era. So anyway, we've got the customer meters pretty well wrapped up. Got a few remaining on that, but that's been a long project.
You have a note here about the lease, and I just kind of did a real quick estimate on the cost of that. $4,514, and for the lease. This was the lowest usage rate for water that I've seen since I've been on the board, and if we could clear these leaks up, we would save some money.
That's kind of, I did some calculations on just how much money, if we invested the same amount right now that we're losing in water and just invested that in debt, we're at $7.75 million that we could borrow over a 20-year period of 4.5% just in that. But the problem is the replacement of all those service lines. The location of every leaking service line is difficult, and I mean, we probably should have that on the agenda since we're doing the water use efficiency this time. So in April, the service line replacement project, and just how we're approaching that, because we're going to go out to bid on it in April. I'll have that on the agenda for April.
What's money in the grant for the leaks?
What's that for the
leaks? There's money in the last grant, right?
Yeah, it's around $500,000, and
we're just going to go after the worst.
$250,000 additional if we get the USDA and don't have to allocate this money to reimburse us for the wells. So it'd be about $750,000 in total. But we're also getting reimbursed for the laterals that we've done already, that we did under the emergency with the response and having laterals replaced, because it's our biggest leakage.
With the combined of that would give us how much for?
Well, I mean, it's within we're spending the grant money now.
Okay.
So it's not an additional pot of money.
Understand.
But it's estimated to be about $2.5 million to replace the laterals. I'm not real comfortable with that. I would think it'd be more like 300 or 3 million, 3.5 in reality. Because I wouldn't doubt that the counties would make us restore the roads, which would be great, but on our backs. So that's we'd have to take on a loan, the debt service on that loan. You know what? Let's put that on the agenda because I want to talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Because there is a way to get this under control, get the leakage under control.
Yes.